Okay, so I'm stood here outside the council offices with Cllr Michael Brown. Councillor, how are you?
Very good. Yeah, very good. Thank you. How are you?
I'm very well, thank you for asking. We are here primarily for a debate. What's that all about? What's the debate's main message to get from it?
Well, essentially, one thing that I picked up at the door on the election and the election before that, and something that one of the main reasons why I came into local politics was to try and do something about local sports within the borough of Kettering. Now, I've been a Poppies fan long before I was a councillor. And obviously the plight of the Poppies is an issue close to my heart and to many of my constituents. At this election, I specifically mentioned the fact that I was going to go out and start campaigning to try and get the Poppies back into Kettering. So the first thing I did after the election was launch a campaign, which is Find KTFC a Site, which sought to get a cross-party consensus across the entire council chamber to try and agree to get some movement in on this issue, and I think that's something that's been reasonably welcomed in the public. I've had a bit of difficulty with some colleagues on the issue, but I've stood my ground. I've got the debate, and hopefully everyone's going to support it and support the Poppies.
Great. So we've got this debate now. As you said, you've fought hard to get it. What's the main aim? What's the outcome that you're hoping for after tonight?
Well, I'm hoping that what's going to happen is that the leadership will go away, put together a strong executive team who are going to start liaising with the local sports teams and the Poppies to try and find some kind of stadium facility within Kettering, and give them a bit of help, try and help them find a site, what will be safe in planning terms or not, and just see what happens really. I mean, we've got to start working a bit harder in regards to local sports.
And you mentioned the Find KTFC a Site page that you've set up on Facebook and Twitter.
Yes.
I mean, that's ground up fantastic support on that.
Yeah.
And that's just for one issue on this debate. So
Absolutely.
how important is it for the fact that people actually do care about this, the fact that you've got that support behind you going forward? How much of a difference does that make when putting your case forward?
Well, it's absolutely one of the most important things for me is to know that I've got the public behind me on this, which means with the public support, you're doing the right thing. I mean, I've known in my head and my heart for a number of years that we need to do more in regards to Kettering Town, the Poppies, and we need to do more in regards to local sport. I don't think we've done enough. And I know I've got the public square behind me, and that's all that matters in this issue. I'm not here to represent a particular councillor. I'm not here to represent a particular view of a particular group of councillors tonight. I'm here to represent the public. And I think that's what people should be doing more in local politics.
Yeah, I mean, it's obviously, I know a lot of Kettering fans are going to be right behind you with this. I mean, with the club going forward, looking to become more of a community side. I mean, we had the announcement not long ago that we're really venturing into the community aspect. We have youth teams set up, we have ladies teams, we have disability teams. I mean, how key is it now that we get this sorted and get everyone on track?
I think that the club's seen some huge changes over the past sort of 5 years. I mean, Imran Ladakh run the thing as a business and I think a bit as a vanity project. What we've seen since Richie has came on board is a completely different way of running the club. It's wiping its own feet financially, it's got out of financial difficulties, it's doing more in the community, it's doing things like supporting Burton Park Wanderers, it's supporting the boxing club, it's doing things with youth teams, disabled teams, ladies teams, even down to 5-year-olds. I mean, this is a community club again. It is not one man's ego project. This is something for the community and for the people of Kettering. And I think now is the time to encourage that kind of behaviour from the club and to try and let them succeed in their aspirations.
Councillor Michael Brown, thank you very much for joining me. I hope to speak to you maybe afterwards to see how the meeting went and the debate went. But for the time being, thank you very much for joining me.
Cheers, thank you very much.
I'm just outside the meeting. It's just finished with Councillor Michael Brown and, of course, Trust Chairwoman, Karen Karen Lewis. Just firstly, Councillor Brown, your thoughts on how the meeting went?
I was very happy that the motion went through. I'm very happy that we had an open debate, and I'm quite happy that we've managed to reach some cross-party consensus on the issue as well. The key challenge is now going to be to get this motion put into action, that it isn't just lip service, that it isn't just there to save face, that people actually take the baton and run with it, and we see some action within the next 4 years to try and improve the sporting offering in Kettering. That includes the Poppies.
Karen, if I could just ask you almost the same question, but from a trust point of view, obviously from an internal source inside the club, what did you take away from today's debate?
I think it's just an opportunity, as always, just to bring the Poppies to the fore at a council meeting to say we're still here, we have survived. We are playing at the moment in Latimer Park. There's nothing wrong with Latimer Park, but if we want to move up the leagues and we get promoted, Latimer Park is simply it's not good enough for us. There's going to be a lot of improvement that needs to be done to that ground. So it's always good just to bring us to the fore, let the council know that we're actually still here and that their town's team is still playing, still surviving, and we're not going to go away.
As we heard, the motion was passed, if you like,
Yes.
and with quite a few councillors as well also expressing their interest in bringing the football club back into the centre of the town, the centre of the community. What now, from a councillor's point of view, is the next step?
Well, it's just a case of keeping the pressure on, ensuring that councillors don't forget that they have agreed to this motion, and I'm sure they won't. Everyone seemed to be in a positive step, and hopefully we'll see some kind of maybe report or some kind of further motion that tells us how they're going to put this into action.
Exactly, and again, trust point of view, how now do you go from what we were to really pressing people like Councillor Brown and the other councillors sat around the table? How do we go about pressing them to make sure that they do stick to what they passed?
I think it's just a case of staying in touch with Mike. Obviously, he's working to find, to push that motion. So I'm sure we'll work closely together and keep in touch. Obviously, I can't speak on behalf of the club itself, but obviously I know the club is, in contact with the council as well. So I guess it's really, and I'm in constant touch with Richie. So it's a case, I think, of so working together just to kind of keep that motion there and say, and again, I repeat, let the council know that we haven't gone away. We're gonna see what we can do in the future, and keep it in their minds.
Yeah, keep the partnership alive and make it stronger. That's what I hope will happen.
Just Chairwoman Karen Lewis and Councillor Michael Brown, thank you very much for your time on what has been a very important and eye-opening meeting, and one that I hope everyone can take forward for the better of the club. Thank you very much.
Fantastic, thank you.